In the news this week, yet another sector of the economy receives boost from world-famous Lagos traffic jam. As political tempers continue to simmer, mysterious new weapons emerge in Kenya.
Actually, this morning we are very sad. We woke up with a surprising news. One of our own, Stephen, was shot dead with a knife.
President Buhari's supporters pretend to be pleasantly surprised as he announced the thing we all know he was going to announce last.
Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God!
And now, it's the other news.
And here's your host, Okey Bakassi.
All right. Thank you and welcome. This is The Other News, your weekly ride on the lighter side of news. Today's show is packed and is interesting, as a list of Nigerian looters will be, anyway. My guest is a man whose business is jokes, but he doesn't joke with his business. Alibaba in the building, ladies and gentlemen. All right. My conversation with Alibaba and much more in just a moment. But first is the other news headlines. The Ministry of Finance has announced that the federal government received $351 million of the so-called Abacha loot from the Swiss government. This Abacha stash is our real foreign reserve. In short, on behalf of Nigerians, I say thank you, Daddy, for saving this money for us for a rainy day. The man could see the future. Maybe it was those shades. A court in Abuja has found a man guilty of stealing iron rods and running away. Well, for his crime, the man has been sentenced to 3 months behind the sort of iron rods that he can touch but cannot steal. River State Governor Wike has accused the federal government of plotting to get him arrested abroad by planting money on him. Governor Wike says the federal government wants to give him what he calls the Alamiesia treatment. Well, in response, supporters of Governor Wike have advised him to pack a few special items each time he's traveling, just in case. Who knows? Well, the Muhammadu Buhari administration has extended the deadline for compliance with the Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme from March 2018 to June 2018. I know someone will be wondering, Baba, you declared for second term, refused to sack the Inspector General who disobeyed your order, extended the deadline of AIDS. But for me to extend my own tenure, you say, bah. It's not fair. Anyway, this is Nigeria for you. Cross River State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, wept openly as he signed the state's record-breaking 1.3 trillion Naira budget into law. The governor got emotional as he appended his signature to the so-called budget of kinetic crystallization. Mr. Governor, I know that feeling. It is tears of joy. I also get emotional whenever I sign a crazy amount of money that is not my own. Oh my God. Well, I'm really getting emotional now. All right, let's forget about emotion and get back to business. To movies now, science fiction writer Nedi Okorafor has challenged filmmakers in Nollywood to create more complex female characters. Nedi, you're talking about complex when Nollywood female characters are not even complete. Some no get head.
Did you drink or something?
No, Ray, I didn't drink anything. I'm high on you. And you're not getting to this house until you give me a proper explanation.
Some no get hat.
What happened to the 3 bags of rice Johnson bought 2 weeks ago? What happened?
Johnson brought rice for them or for me.
Even if they are for you, can't you give some quantity out to a hungry person?
I said, did he bring the rice for them or for me?
And some no get liver.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
To other matters now, A few days ago, President Muhammadu Buhari looked back at his time in office, the many months it took him to appoint ministers, the way he led us into recession and led us out of it again, the way he defeated Boko Haram technically, but not really, the way he fought corruption with his body language, then with the EFCC, then with the SSS, and then when corruption started fighting back, how his government bravely pulled out the most powerful anti-corruption weapon ever, list of alleged looters. Now, he read the letters from his predecessors.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who is at the receiving end of another highly charged 18-page epistle from Chief Obasanjo, he writes, quote, President Buhari needs a dignified and honorable dismount from the horse.
And listened to the threats from friendly governors.
Anytime he decides not to contest, we will take him to court.
The president listened to his followers chanting, Sai Buhari, and to his critics shouting, Chai Buhari. He tasted the tears of the wailers and listened to the cries of the people, and he made a very difficult decision. He decided to run for president in 2019 in order to spend another 4 years in Aso Rock. Not that he has already spent 4 years in his office in Aso Rock. This is still 2018. Besides, if you subtract all the London vacation time and rat vacation time from 4 years, you will get, anyway, it does not matter. Yeah. The reaction to the President Buhari's declaration were fast and sometimes furious. His supporters were in high spirits.
He does have the constitutional right to contest.
It is better for him to come out early so that people will know that he's contesting.
The stock market was in low spirits. Now, I'm not categorically saying that it is because of the president's announcement that the Nigerian stock market lost 150 billion naira on the same day. But our people say the witch cried in the night and the child was found dead in the morning, or in this case, the same day. What else now can you deduce from that? Well, and President Buhari's usual naysayers had a lot of nays to say. But President Buhari did not stick around for all these reactions. Like the soldier that he is, he dropped his grenade of declaration and ran to take cover in London. Well, President Buhari, the man who had once promised to run for only a single term, was suddenly asking for a second round. That man can really change. Maybe this time around, his campaign slogan will be changing instead of change. So why does President Buhari think he deserves a second term, or is it a third chance at his job? Maybe it is because he has had some success in fighting corruption and Boko Haram. Maybe it is because he led us into, you know what I mean, recession, and then led us out of it. Or maybe it is because he believes that by 2019, after 59 years of independence, Nigeria's best option to sustain her democracy will be a 75-year-old former military man. Well, they say we deserve the leaders we get. So perhaps it is also true for Nigeria. But the beauty of democracy is that we have an opportunity to choose who will lead us. So whether you are for or against President Buhari, you owe it to your country to get registered to vote and come out to the polls and make your choice. Until then, the president has spoken and all eyes are on Aso Rock and London. My guest today is so popular that he literally needs no introduction. So ladies and gentlemen, I will not even bother to introduce him. I don't know if I did earlier on. But anyway, put your hands together as I welcome the man. Yeah, bro.
Hey, bro. How are you?
Yeah. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, you look good, bro.
Thanks.
Censorship and comedy, okay? I believe Nigerian comedy is over-censored. People don't want you to touch religion. They don't want you to touch politics. They don't want you to touch ethnicity. You know, too many things that they don't want you to touch.
Okay.
What's your take on it?
A quick take on that is that there's a very thin line between being funny and being offensive, especially in a society like ours. Yeah. You know, the comedian is actually like a reflection of the society. Yeah. You're a social critic, but people hear more of you than they hear more of the politicians. As they say, these days when we talk, They take us more serious and take the people that talk as a joke.
Yeah.
All right. So what the comedian says becomes serious, and what the politician says becomes a joke.
Okay, we'll dig into all those things. We'll take a break, guys. You know it's already becoming very, very interesting. Yeah. Still on that matter, on the censorship issue.
Sure.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've been called by somebody highly placed to say, stop using that joke?
Oh, several. But the thing is, I have, having worked for like 30 years, I've come to know where the bodies are buried and who to avoid. And most times the jokes that I tell are jokes that I've shared with the people that I tell them about. So I probably will tell a joke about Obasanjo. I'll tell a joke about Jonathan. I'll tell a joke about Buhari. No, I won't tell a joke about Buhari. Because even when they mentioned a goat, what happened? Was it a goat or a dog or something like that?
It was a dog.
It was very dogmatic.
Yes.
So for me, really, I've done jokes before. First time I did a joke and I knew that the consciousness or the humor, the sense of humor people needed to be raised was during Alex Akinyele's tenure as the sports minister.
Yeah.
And so I told a joke. And I said that Alex Akinyele is different from Nwobodo. That Nwobodo is the Ajebota minister. Alex Akinyele is the Ajepako minister. That when they score, Nwobodo goes, beautiful. Nkechi, you see that? Beautiful. I said, but when they score during the tenure of Akinyele, how bad. And that's your minister.
Yes.
I said, that's the difference between them.
Yeah.
Alex Akinyele was laughing. And then the special assistant came to me.
Those ones are...
Those overzealous aides. What nonsense was that? Why am I comparing this and I'm trying to make him look ras? What was it? You know, we're still talking.
That's a reggae joke, no complaint.
Yes, we're still talking. At a co-hotel, this banquet hall back then was like the ultimate of a co-hotel.
Yeah.
We're still talking, and the man comes and says, Ali, you know, when they're playing that ball, you can't control yourself. You know, I liked it.
Meanwhile, the aide was here messing
the aide was standing, and then when he finished and left, I turned to him and said, is it the same guy you were talking about? He said, he might appear now not to like it. So I said, you know, it is that some people will swallow Panadol for another person's headache.
No, it's very common in politics in Nigeria.
Exactly.
It's very common.
Which is why some people even kill on behalf of some guys.
Yes.
They will go to one place, beat the person up, and then go to the other guy and say, we solved that problem.
We solved that problem.
The man will be like, who sent you?
Okay, now that we've gone into politics a little bit, look, you've been around for a very long time.
No, don't just say Ali. No, don't bros.
Okay, okay. We've been around.
Yes, bros, you understand.
We've been around for a very long time.
Yes.
All right. Looking at the different governments that we have experienced and seeing politicians generally, do you think we're moving forward or moving backwards?
In our country, no, not yet. If we were a software, we'd still be about 12% booted.
Ooh.
The journey is still far. First of all, the infrastructure. First of all, the judicial system, the security system. There are quite a lot of things, and all of the rule of law. All of these tie together to make a better society as we expect. Freedom of speech is still not free.
Yeah.
You
may have freedom of speech, they say, but you may not have freedom after speech.
Yes. So you find that people still get appointed, and the people who are credible enough or who qualify for that office still don't get it. Which is why some people that are in government, when they leave, the people they worked with as special assistants, they can't employ them in their personal companies. So when there was a governor in the South, when he finished, the guy that was his special advisor in economic matters, the guy said, can I come and work with you? He said, God forbid.
But you're good for government.
No.
But for me, you're not.
No.
Wow, what an irony. Another election year is approaching us. And some of these politicians will go seeking the hands of entertainers in marriage or friendship. They want endorsements.
4 years in
so
marriage.
do you do you think it's okay for entertainers to go ahead and endorse politicians for the money?
Okay, straight up. First of all, entertainers are Nigerians. Second thing is that they are...
I'm not saying...
No, wait, I'm getting to your point.
Okay.
The second thing is that they are of votable age. They can contest.
Most of them.
And can run for an office or vote for someone who runs for an office. So it's their inalienable right to become... Part of being a citizen is that you can vote. The other thing is that you can approach anybody to seek the person's vote.
Yeah.
But then again, for entertainers, they are not just citizens. These are people who have a constituency that can be influenced.
Yeah.
And that constituency can be influenced by them because there are a lot of people who look up to them.
They are role
and
models.
So, exactly. As role models, your thoughts and actions have to be guided. And we played our role as social commentators, either in our movies or on stage performances. There was a time that I talked about how stingy the former president was, Obasanjo.
Yeah.
When I said, Obasanjo can... He would take any, like when they said that he gave bribe to National Assembly, and he saw it on TV, and he said, "What is in all that Gara must go." During Abacha time, he said, "It's the money they said you bribed them." He said, "I bribed them." That plenty money, he said, "Bring it back." or when I said they asked him that they wanted to set up an effigy in his honor, and he said, "How much?" He said, 280 million.
That's a classic.
He said, "Bring the money, I will go and stand there." So we always try to subtly, though, comment on issues,
social commentary,
and correct them by so doing. So we're all in the game.
Okay. The president has just announced his intention to run.
To where?
For now.
Because he's run. Yes, that's what I wanted to be clear.
For 2019.
Okay.
So what's your take?
Okay, because first of all is that he wants to run, fine. So he has to give us his report card.
Yes, let us
mark it and see whether, there's promoted on trial.
Yes.
But when you're going on your final year, there's no promoted on trial. Either you repeat, or you
withdraw due to academic failure.
No,
we are talking about school now.
We're talking of school. Okay, so we're not talking about...
make it look like I said something else.
No, because you are trying to say that Buhari should not run.
No.
Okay, what did you say?
Don't cause problem between me and my friends.
In quotes. Is that not that word is in quotes?
Did I say anything? My fingers are just like this.
Right, but that is it. He said he wants to run, and so we'll actually judge him on the record that he has. By the way, the former president, Jonathan, when he wanted to run again, people brought out several things I said before. They said, "I will do just one term."
Yes.
The one before has said he would do just one term. It looks like when you get into office, memory...
you'll suffer some memory... No, I think it's selective amnesia.
Yes, that's the medical word for it.
Okay, I don't know. What do I know? I'm a comedian. Anyway, is there politics in your future?
Like, not in this terrain. Not in this... the political dynamics can't help. If I become...
Wait. I'm not happy with you saying lie to politics. When we are hoping that the people like you will come in and intervene. You just said lie. You didn't even think about it.
My brother, you did for 8 years and 4 years. Did you not run back to us? Were we not waiting to help you? No, the thing is, the climate and the political dynamics can't help anybody now. The thumb printing thing itself and PVC.
It's not working well.
There's still areas where the thing will not work. There's still areas where people, you saw the pictures, 4-year-old, 10-year-old, 8-year-old coming to vote for their parents.
Yes.
One girl was in the queue. They told the girl, "You can't vote." He said, "I'm voting for Mama."
Imagine.
Where is Mama? They said, they checked the card, it was Papa. He said, "Is your father a mouth fraud right or something?" But the thing is, the electoral process still needs to be fine-tuned because it is when that is done properly that people can then be sure of offering themselves for, if I become a political appointee, I probably may not even last, not to talk of elective office. I won't last because if I go into a meeting and we share 800,000, when I come out and say, "I've collected my own,"
then you have problem.
Then you have problem. And I can't sit somewhere, because what happens is, someone says, we need to do a road that will pass through Isukwato and get to Imunede. They said, no, we can't do that road. The man that is chairman of that place was the one that refused to give us votes the other time. That ran against our man that made the senator lose. Scrap that road.
Imagine.
And that road is gone.
It's crazy.
So until all of those are corrected, we'll remain where we are.
I know we should leave about thanks for talking to you.
Awesome.
Dan the Humorous has something in store for us. What is it?
Die by fire, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire. Nigerians, we are on a spiritual parade tonight. Wherever you are watching this show, bring out your candle, bring out your olive oil, start to burn your incense. The other news has gone spiritual. Now, you remember how when we are going for visa interview, job interview, somebody wants to marry you, you are pregnant, you know something is about to happen, and then people tell you, shh, don't say anything, because if you say, there are some witches and wizards that will jinx it, as Oyibo people will say, or spoil it. Has that happened to you before? Well, it has happened to me, and it's making me to think some of the promises our government has been promising us, past and present, some of the roadmaps they have been launching, some of the flag-offs they have been doing, some of the plans and projections they have been making, have all continued to remain what they are, promises. They hardly materialize. Could it be that it's because they are talking, woo, 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 winches are catching it and killing it? Since when they have been promising us power, housing for all, light for all, hospital for all, kilishi for all, none of them will they see. Now, let me open your eye to something. Under President Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria became Africa's #1 economy. Dangote's fortune rose. We had the very first incumbent leader concede to opposition in an election in Africa. But were these items part of Jonathan's promise in 2011? No. Now, under President Buhari, Nigeria has gone high in the ease of doing business index. Dangote's fortune stumbled, but somehow attained more stability. Banky W got married. Don Jazzy looking like he's going to marry. Linda Ikeji got engaged. Were this part of APC promises? No. What this starts to say is that the ones they do not promise will happen. The ones that they promise, that they set out, will not happen. Think. Okay, look at the corruption that this government said they want to fight. The corruption is fighting back. Okay, look at Lagos that said they want to do cleaner Lagos. It's now the time that Dotti is now fighting the Lagos. This is spiritual. So, with this situation at hand, I think we should consult a senior prophet in this matter.
Fighting corruption, not by fighting corruption. Fighting corruption when corruption isn't aware we are fighting it. Improving the people's lives.
Aha! There you have it. The senior prophet has spoken. Don't let the enemy see you coming. Let us begin to do what the military know as decoy, to confuse the political familiar spirits and political monitoring spirits. So if you're a politician, listen to me here. If your plan is road infrastructure, promise health. If your plan is housing, promise works. If your plan is power, promise water. That way, the demons of development will be confused. When they are pursuing you, where you want to do road, you are doing education. But here are the issues. Is it just that, true, our politicians just make promises anyhow, or just project, figures that will impress us and blow our minds, or do some abracadabra that they make these promises without really calculating the reality on ground? Or true, is this thing really spiritual, as we are saying? Again, I said to you, Nigerians, let us use what? our kidney to dissect this matter.
Wow. Wow. That's indeed spiritual. In fact, I'm reasoning it with my kidney. All right, thank you, Dan. That's our show for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had as much fun watching as I did hosting. You can reach us on all social media platforms. Our handle remains The Other News CTV. If you want to be part of our live audience, as I always say, reach out to us on the numbers on your screen. Our people say, just because a man is short does not make him a boy. Now don't hear me. My name is Okey. Goodbye. Thank you. Yeah.